All right, it's time to go live. Hello, hello. There I am. How's it going, folks? Hope you're doing all right. My apologies. There may be some cat sounds. They're having a small cat insurrection right now, so not to worry though. We'll put down this rebellion. Anyhow, we're gonna be doing our CMS work, working on more web pages. We'll keep making our little CMS content managers homepage, our little fiefdom as I keep calling it. One thing, I'm not on the Zoom call quite yet, so I'm gonna hop on that real quick. But one thing I've seen is some folks have been confused by the Zoom app versus our American.zoom.us. So you got two ways to access your meetings, right? So you can log in with this website up here, American.zoom.us, but you also might have the app installed on your computer. If we log in through the website, let's do that first. Sign in with the Zoom account here. This should be a familiar screen. Simply hit next, sign in. If you got it all saved, look, it's me. All right, so if you need to sign in using the app, don't use this, don't use Gmail or Facebook, use the sign in with SSO. And then you do american.zoom.us. This then connects you, and then you can open Zoom meetings, and it says, hey, look, you've got meetings like this. So let's start our web office hours. Hey, and we'll join with computer audio. So that's just a very quick heads up. You got two ways to access your Zoom meetings. If you're using the app on the computer, make sure you use that sign in with SSO. SSO stands for single sign-on. All right, great. I'm in the Zoom meeting. Anybody needs office hours? Here I am. I wonder if this video will work with my... Whoa! All right, so Zoom seems to be very much able to pick up my Droid Cam source. I'm having problems with my streaming software. It's called Open Broadcast. It doesn't seem to be picking up my camera. My camera is, of course, my phone. It's quite the setup. I need to have another phone to record and show how I'm doing this. All right. Let me leave that actually up. Zoom. Why will you not let me see you? Okay, well. Okay. I'm just gonna close that. I'm gonna start it again. Yeah, join computer audio. Alright, whatever. I'm not the biggest fan of Zoom, but it's what we got. Great. Hey, let's do this. So, as always, whenever we need to do work on the website, we need two things. We need to be connected to the VPN right here. And we also then need to go to cms.american.edu/login.cfm. So let's go and log in and take a look, right? Remember, it's going to take you to the home page. It's going to be a fun fight. Every time. Every time. Can I make this stay on top? Alright, we're just going to add a little window capture. Great. Wow. Perfect. Here we go. Look at this. Technology saves the day again. Cool. Alrighty. So now you can see my beautiful face this whole time. Try to leave that up. Alright. So scroll on down. We've got our usual summer and step programs that are kind of permanent fixtures. Let's go ahead and open up our example pages. One thing I realized, I was trying to actually use this as an example to share with folks. I haven't actually changed the links on this. Remember, you can always kind of take a look in the bottom left hand corner and you can actually see I flubbed this link. So you see in that bottom left hand corner of the screen, I can't really move my cursor, but it says, https cms.american.edu/ocl/google.com. That's because I didn't include the HTTPS. HTTPS is basically a security, that's what the S is for, protocol. So I think this one we fixed. Nope, that goes to Xstaff. Nope, these are both flubbed. So ready? I bet if I currently clicked on this visit the FAQ, it's going to try to go to this website, which we're just trying to go to google.com. So whenever you put in an external web page, you need to include the whole URL, not just www. The reason why that works with like your browser of Chrome, let's say, and not this, is because your browser knows to interpret that. It knows that if you just put www.google.com, your browser knows to, okay, let me search for like an HTTP version of that, right? So now we can do google.com. And the funny thing is I'm going to have to change this anyways, but, let's do something right. I've got a webcam on order. Unfortunately, everybody seems to have ordered a webcam, so it won't be here till like late May. Hey, Google. Okay, but like I said, we want this to actually link to our pages. Nope.
Nothing's playing right now.
The joys of being monitored by a corporation all the time. That's so funny. I don't know why it's trying to give us that title with that. Okay, well, let's change that link action. Let's search for a page. Remember, whenever we are looking for, whenever we want to link to a page within american.edu, we need to choose from existing subsite. Most of the time, you're going to be linking to a page on the subsite. Remember, subsites are basically just folders. Whenever I go to american.edu, well, on the back end, there's like a common spot folder. But if we're changing an OCL page or, a housing page, OCL is a folder. Within that OCL folder is a housing folder. And in that housing folder is a web page called Summer Housing. As you know, sometimes we just have to be patient with our system. That being said, doesn't mean we can't work on other things. So let me I got an email. I saw the alert pop up on my phone about editing some pages. Interesting. So, all right, sorry for that pause and silence. All right, so I've got a request about updating staff information, which is good to go over because the short answer is I can't. But let's actually go over the details. So, we've got something right here, which is kind of common, right? We've got two titles here. Well, actually, we've got one title and then an office name. So these Meet the Staff pages are actually built out from HR's database. And so whenever I add, or whenever your web manager adds somebody to a website, they do not actually type in this information. All that they're doing is they're typing in your name or your Eagle ID, which is the first part of your email. And the computer then is saying, hey, let me go grab that data and update it. So unfortunately, if you want to make any updates to this, you're going to have to do it in two ways. And I'll walk through how we can do that. I'm going to have to be careful, though. I don't want to... Last time I did it, I kind of flashed my personal information. I don't want to do that again. All right, so whenever we go to edit the actual profile element here, which shows everybody's profile, you're going to see that it's not like a text block. You can't just type things in, right? And so, just making sure, keeping an eye on everything. So we can search more records to add, right? And let's say, hey, look, here's EagleNet ID. This luckily is already like kind of in it. Normally it's going to start at this all records, and you need to change it to subset. So if I type in mine, hey, there I am. I can, check the box, use checked records. Even if I hit this right here, it will take me to where I'm going to show you where you can update other information. This is where you can update the basics. So for instance, let's look at Stephen, right? He says adjunct professorial lecturer. Well, that's probably, and I'm going to just assume here, Stephen probably signed up to teach an AUX course. And that was after he was already a full-time staff member. So that's the latest role that Stephen has gotten as an AU employee. And so that's what's updated most recently in his staff profile. So if you actually go under faculty staff here, you can choose which title to display. So we can force the staff title or the faculty title. Now, the user that needs to update their information may not be somebody who actually manages or edits content on the web pages. If that's the case, there's an easier way to do it. And this is just easier overall because then you don't have to log into the VPN and get into the CMS and find the element, right? Just look yourself up. Go ahead and open up your profile by hitting view profile. Yeah, this is gonna have to get refreshed. It's kind of a no-no, but I think after 10 minutes now we've been going. All right, so we can log in to edit the profile. Looks similar to that CMS login screen. All right. I can edit the profile now. Pardon me, folks. Got to get my coffee. All right. So the most important things here, I know a lot of times for professors and folks, this is pretty important. A lot of times the most common error is your display. Make sure you're displaying the title that you want to. There is some stuff you can't change, you'll notice, under AU information. You got first name, last name, web name, all this stuff. This actually has to get changed through the portal, and I'm going to start to show you. So let's go to myAU.american.edu. Let me update that now. Yep. Wow. I last updated my emergency contact info in 2017. All right, let's take a look. Work at AU. We can update this. It's employee contact info right there. Let me pull it out of the way. Make sure nothing too crazy is being shown. Ha. Okay. So this is all right. I'm gonna trust you fools. It's my old address anyways. Like 2 addresses ago. That's funny. So you can change this information. Personal data is much more HR reliant. Let's say you got like a new phone number, right? You need to update that, or you don't want your email address shown, or you've had your office moved. This is where you would do it. So again, in order to change this information, just log into the portal, myau.american.edu, under work at AU, employee contact info, and then you're going to change that top campus address. Now again, nothing's ever simple, right? So you have now been able to update your phone number, your office number, your email address. We've been able to go in here. You can update your profile picture. You can add a biography. You can, change your display of title of faculty or staff. Talk about your favorite books and spots, all that faff. But let's say you had like your office name changed, and your name is still showing up. Like your office is still the old name, or your title has been changed and it hasn't updated, right? That's an HR question. That's where you have to go to HR and ask them, because they basically have to change that in their database. Because again, whenever we go to edit this, we're not actually changing it. We are simply just pointing towards people and saying like, hey, look for this person in HR's database and pull them. So I know you guys don't see the email, but basically it's just a lot of requests for, hey, can we make Steven like show his staff? Can we update certain things? The answer is no, I can't. But I will provide instructions on how you can do that yourself. All right. So that fun aside, what are we doing here? All right, this is still pointing to Google. That's right, because it timed out on us. Let's go and hit edit data. It's so funny. All right, we're going to choose from this current subsite in OCL. I'm going to sort by date because I've messed with these pages pretty recently. That was the example FAQ, right? There it is. Boy, we haven't touched that in a minute. Insert link and save. It's going to refresh the whole waiting. There we go. Let's edit this one. Where's this one going? Google, but it's also broken because I didn't include the HTTPS. Remember, that's very important. I'm going to sort by date again because I've been messing with all these. Example content page. Remember, folks, you can always view it by clicking that arrow that's in the box. It'll open it up in a new tab, and then you can confirm you're actually linking to the right page, right? Hey, look at all that. So we know that's the right page. I actually kind of wanted to keep that. Oh, hit save. We will let that reload. And again, I love it whenever this happens because this makes people panic and understand. All of my changes, where have they gone? View, work on this page, all changes. So, no panic. It's right there. All right, folks, let's, okay. Let's go and open up the content page because we want to actually look at that. All right, so this, again, we're like, wait, how do I change it? It's broken. Help. We actually aren't on a working view of this page. Okay, so we got all of our stuff here. View, work on this page, all changes. I've been the only person in here, but just good practice. All right, so actually now I have Adobe Acrobat DC, which is the professional version, and that's what you need in order to check the accessibility of PDF documents. Cole, why is this important? Well, because we like our documents. I think we're going to be moving away from documents, or if we are, they're going to be fillable, signable documents. That may be its own can of worms, I'll be frank. But whenever we create, I should not share my DC tax forms. Let's see if this will be a good one. It's rather large, so let's maybe not test that one out. And there's that. Here we go. Here's my CMS guide. Boy, it's an old one, I think. Yep, back from October. Wow, an age ago. Okay, so if you're in Adobe, let's say you do have the Pro version, you should have all of these tools on the side. If not, you can just hit the tools button and it'll pull them all up here. Whenever we check for accessibility, we hit the accessibility button and we get our panel. We run a full check, hey, and we hit start checking. Great, I've got some issues. Ooh, I got a lot of alt text issues, which makes sense. I don't recall ever putting alternative text next to these, right? And so you can see for each one of these, they have to have alternative text. Also, pretty sure I made this in Word and the formatting did not stay. You see this? So now, luckily for some of these problems, it's fairly easy. I can just go to fix and you can mark it as decorative, which just basically tells the screen reader to ignore it, or it can actually like have text attached to it. One of the things I want to do though is I just want to actually use this report to capture a screenshot. So if you're on Windows, it's the Windows key Shift S. That's how you do a snapshot. Hopefully this doesn't really bust up the view for you guys too much. I've actually got my phone positioned so I can hardly see, but we'll open that up. Yeah, we're gonna save this guy. Save. We're gonna save this. Never mind that. Yeah, we're gonna do, what is it? Adobe accessibility check. So that's a little bit verbose for file name, but that does come up as a pop-up whenever you hover over it. So you'll see, maybe not. It's supposed to. All right, let's replace this. That's why I wanted to do it. Replace this image with the accessibility view. Remember, this is an example page that we're doing. You should always have an introduction. We must have headers actually go in a certain order. So I'm going to go fancy view here. Ready? See how it says H1? That's a header 1. That's also an H1. Now that's an H2. It only descended by 1. You can't use headers because you think H5 looks prettier than H2. You use headers as structure. It's rungs on a ladder. It's how we move through the page. All right, H2. This is actually a caption attached to the table. And you can actually see how it says TH there. It stands for table head. TD for table data. You can't really have merge tables. There are ways. I don't know them off the top of my head, and they're very complicated. So I'm just going to say, don't use merge tables. It makes our life much more complicated. And the reason why is because basically a screen reader is going to say, correct headers. I'm an H1. I'm an H2. I'm an H3. Incorrect headers. And it knows to basically say, hey, these are each of the things. It lets people go like, hey, I need like TH1, TH2, like row 3. They can actually specify. Now notice, hey, wait, we had header 1, header 2, well, header 1, header 1, header 2, header 2, that's fine. You don't have to descend. You can stay at the header level that you're at. Now we're back up to header 1. That's fine. We can go up as much as we want. Just you got to go back down by 1. And we're back down to H2, right? So let's get out of that code view. And if you ever want to use that, it's probably overkill unless you're kind of more comfortable. But this console panel, you click on this little arrow in a box for Chrome. Firefox, I believe, has a similar icon. And you just hover over items. If you click on it, it's going to show you all the code over there, which is hard to read in that format, but probably overkill for what you need. But if you want to get it, just hit F12. And you'll see actually these console messages. You can see the JavaScript on line 366 is like doing a check, basically. It's a console log. All right, so we have a page. I'm going to make this long deliberately because I'm mostly just using examples for it, and I'm also going to have information on here, right? So what do we want to do? We wanted to show web accessibility, document accessibility. Let's do video, right? I'm going to enter a separate text block. And the reason why I do this is because if you have long pages or pages that have a lot of information, it can be really hard to find specifically what you want if you have it all in one text block. It also means that you're making a lot of changes in one element, right? So this is a unique element here, this text block. We're going to edit it and define it. Do some new data. And if you have this whole page was all one text block and the server crashed or you had an error and it didn't see your change, all of a sudden all those changes you've made are gone. So I try to break it up into like text block chunks. And remember, the other reason why we're doing this is because we are using this image at the start, right? So I don't see an image anywhere in here, but there's an image in this, right? It's because we're using this photo tab. And we've specified, hey, we want our image to be half left. Speaking of which, we took that fancy dancy screenshot. Let's go and update this, right? So we're going to clear this out. And remember, there's multiple ways to add photos, depending on your element, but the text block is probably the most common way to add a photo. Let's go and add this. So through the photo tab, click the tab and select image. Pardon All right, we're going to do new. Okay. This is where things get confusing. Sometimes you will get a message that's like, you do not have permission. Don't trust it. Make sure you have image gallery, default image gallery. Subsite, if it's checked, make sure it's unchecked. Make sure it should by default select whatever subsite you're in. So you shouldn't have to double check this, but just in case, you know what it is. If you're on like adding to counseling center, make sure you have counseling selected. Again, should be default selected to what you're on. Okay, add image. What did I? It was Adobe, right? So it should be towards the top. Hey, there it is. All right, upload image. So its title's fine. That's just the file name. So we can't really use words like screenshot, image, pic, picture, banner, logo, anything that says this is a picture. You can't use that in alternative text, but you need to describe it. Now, normally I say if you have text on your image, you need to write that as the alt text, but this is too much. And it's images of images as well. We're getting meta here. So I'm just going to say example of the Adobe Accessibility Checker. Check tool. Let's say that. There you go. You know, I have to type that word so often, and I misspell it every time still. Accessibility. All right, great. Let's hit save. Okay. And everything should be good. We're just editing the photo. Hey, there it is. Not a very useful photo. It's a little hard to see anything. Maybe we'll make it bigger, right? We'll give this one let's give it the full width. And let's see if that's too much. No, I think that's, somewhat useful. It kind of shows us like, hey, there's a lot that goes into this. All right. So we're going to call this text block good. Let's say that we've put enough information there. Let's go ahead and talk about video accessibility briefly in this. We're going to say video accessibility. Crushed it. Now remember, these two, title and subtitle, are going to be H1 elements. And here what I want to do is I want to specify live versus recorded video. So live video. And I'm going to change this to an H2. Because again, we use the headers kind of as a way to move through the page. Video accessibility is a big topic. Now we're breaking it down to live video. Below this, we're also going to have recorded. Recorded video. I'm going to make that an H2. And you know what? Within the live video, I'm going to say, I'm going to list different tools that we have, right? Streaming platforms. No, actually, let's just do this. Let's do this. I'm going to say Zoom, Teams, go to webinar. It's funny because their product's all one word with that, but it's a mishmash. And then we'll just say live streaming. Right? So I've got an H2 here. I'm going to change this because Zoom, Teams, GoToWebinar, all that is going to be kind of a subheading under the live video, right? So these are going to be subtopics. Oh, I want that being H3. Great. And then we get to recorded video. Recorded video. And I don't know that I really want to break that down. Okay. So under live video, I'm just going to have my most important message. You must have live captions. Now hold up, I hear you saying, Cole, you're breaking your own rules. That's true, but my audience here is not students. We receive federal money, and so we have to comply with federal guidelines regarding our population and audience and provide live captioning so that way students with accessibility needs can access our content. Now, there's a lot of ways that we can actually meet the legal need, but then there's also a sort of spirit of the law. letter of the law versus spirit of the law. If we provide, I believe, the text of what we're saying somehow, so let's say you have a scripted video and you just have the text on the screen, that might, I'm not a legal scholar, I'm not a lawyer, that might satisfy a legal need. It certainly doesn't meet the spirit, because captioning, screen readers rely on, a captioning element to be like, hey, here's the text, and it reads that to them. It doesn't read, I don't know that it can read the text through the video, right? Because remember, if it's coming through YouTube box, right? Let's say we're on YouTube, like this, right? So like, I've got my YouTube box here, right? I don't think there's a caption option here, but if I just had this, I don't think a screen reader here, we're getting meta here, can read live video. You must have captions here, because there's already a process interpreting the data to say, hey, this is a video, here's the sound, here's the visual. Whereas with the actual captions, if you had those turned on, then captioning software, it's encoded a different way, right? So then captioning software can say, hey, let me read this from the video. It's a different set of data. So this is perhaps a convoluted way of saying it, but you really just need live captions. If you don't know how to do live captions, if you do not have the budget to provide live captions, please strongly consider doing recorded video. You must have live captions. I'm just going to leave this sentence at that. That's really all you need to know. You must have live captions. Great. Well, that's an important topic. All right. So let's go to Zoom. American University provides a license. You can log into the AU. So there's when we share links or put links on the website, we generally should not be actually putting the website. You might think, oh, that's silly, because then people can see the web address and they can know they're going to the right spot. We just shouldn't put it. We should actually link text. And remember whenever we link text, we need to actually declare with the text where that link is taking you. So we can't just say, you can log into the AU to your AU Zoom account here, and then don't put here as the link, right? That's what we're all used to. That every website does that, right? That's just universal design. It's bad design. So provides a license for all AU employees. You access your Zoom accounts. And I'm just going to make access your Zoom account, log in using your I believe it's email. Let me log out real quick. See, it's important to test everything. Yeah. So if I hit sign in, it's going to ask for the whole email. Great. Using your email, your AU email, password. If you have the Zoom application, what we went over this morning, application installed on your computer, please be sure to click sign in with SSO first. Well, I'll just say to log in with your AU account. I'll detail this out more. I do actually want to push these pages. So here's my conundrum. I can't share these pages directly with you guys because you have access to your specific subsites. I may actually request that you are all authors or a certain type of user for OCL. Maybe somebody who, yeah, we'll just do author maybe. Because otherwise, you're going to get a error whenever you try to view this page in comment spot. And it's not active if you see the active button. So I can't just share the link with you. Now, I don't want this to be public because Google does crawl through and any of these keywords are going to get picked up. And I've deliberately made things inaccessible on this page for examples. So, Please be sure to sign with your click sign in. All right, so we need to actually add our link to. Yeah, we're just gonna do this. So I wonder how this will work. American. I should spell things. American.zoom.us. Hey, and it does have HTTPS. So Chrome has started hiding that. I don't know why. Right. So if you're just going to a page, it looks like this. Click in there. Click again. 2 clicks. There you go. 2 clicks Turkish. All right. So we're going to say access your Zoom account. And we're going to turn that into a link. Remember, it needs to be an unregistered URL. We'll paste that in. Hit insert link. Great. Okay, so this is a good start. Let's hit save. Remember, I don't like to make too many changes without saving, in case I just want to take it. Great. Okay, live video. Zoom. Let's say you don't like the amount of space between you must have live captions. So we're taking a look at the source code real quick. Hit source. You'll notice we got H2, P, H2. There's the P has an end here as well. The P is for paragraph, and there's certain style associated with each of these elements. There's a certain amount of space that each is given above and below and to the sides. This is just the space it's going to be. If you don't like this amount of space that's between you must have live captions in Zoom, I don't have a solution for you, unfortunately. And this is something that you're going to have to work with the CMS in. You're going to have to be aware that, hey, there are limitations. There are things that are default set in stone. Please work with it. I'm more than happy to work with you to try to make this look how you want. But please be aware that we do have limitations, and we do have to work within those. So for instance, you might be like, man, there's a big gap between that and the teams. Again, there's no extra. So sometimes you'll see, this is why I'm in the code view. You'll see like an extra P, and you'll see like that's huge, right? If you see like that much, and if you do think that there's too much space, feel free to double check. I mean, you can always just like hit delete. Oh no, got rid of that. Okay, Control Z, go back. If I hit backspace, okay, that works, right? And again, you can look in the code, and if you see things like this P with the ampersand NBSP, this is actually Unicode for a space. That's just like empty space, basically. You can see we got one after our period here. It's fine to delete. If you see this in code, or if you see like big spaces, you might want to look at the source and you'll be like, this. All right, we can delete that, and that'll clear up some of the space. But I can't get that any closer. I can't get that any closer while maintaining accessibility with the headers and everything. Excuse me, folks. Just got something caught in my throat. All right. So one other thing that's common whenever we're using a lot of headers, right? So we're trying to really divide this up, right? We got live video, so you can do Zoom, Teams, webinar, recorded. We like to really draw attention to things by maybe adding some extra elements. That's funny. Zoom is an H2. I want that to be an H3, right? Like, I really like Zoom's the best, you know. That's really what we want people to be using. You can hit bold, italic, underline, right? Don't that stylistically, we don't want to do that. You don't want to mix too many things. You shouldn't be mixing like underline and italics and bold, regardless. Don't do it with headers as well. It causes issues with screen readers, because if things are, it wants to assign certain weight to stuff, and really call that out. And if you're adding too many things, then it confuses the screen reader, or it basically means that the call out that you're trying to make, the extra attention, is invalidated because there's just too many things. It just becomes noise, right? So, I know. Let's continue with this. Teams, right? So we hit enter, and all of a sudden we got our normal text again. Teams, all AU employees and students are able to access Teams through the web portal. Let's do Microsoft Office web portal. Office web portal. Is it office dot? Hold on. Let me pull up my document because there is a. I should really remember off the top of my head. Nope. All right. Sorry. Reading an email, folks. All right. Let me look up my guide. So, remote work guide. I need to update that. Portal.office.com. All right. Portal.office.com. Oh my goodness. And whenever you go to that, oh, I'm already logged in with ADFS, so it logged me in right away. And you can see everything here, right? So what if I just go to sign out? Hopefully that doesn't kick me out of too many things. Let's do portal.office.com again. Takes me straight to it. So let's test it if we link it through the Office web portal. I am worried without the HTTPS we might. But let's find out. We're doing it for science, folks. I can actually get rid of the screenshot. All right, it's reloading. All right, hey, look, we got our access your Zoom. Let's try to open it up. Perfect. Office web. Nope. Ah, curse. All right, what if we do? Let's cut that out and paste it in front of that. Oh. All right, let's try again. X. I'll try not to like go right away. We'll copy that. Right, and then we go, hey, it tries to sign me in. So let's go ahead and edit that. Remember, we need our HTTPS. It's essential for linking to external web pages.
Must have been my imagination. It makes me realize how desperately alone.
All right, and then we're going to add the external unregistered link. All right. Now, and again, remember, if we hover over in the bottom left of the page, it's going to show where a link is taking us. And this works just on any website. So you can hover over and be like, okay, this is where it's going. And I bet if I click on it, it's going to ask me to sign in. Also, another tangent. This Office, if you're trying to access all of your stuff through the web client, let's say you don't have Teams or something on your computer, you do portal.office.com, and it will ask you to sign in, and then you can access like Teams and stuff, right? So we can like even, right? So I open an incognito tab. It's gonna have this and be like, hey, what is your email? And you want to use your work email. You type in it in, it's going to take you to the organization page. And then again, it's our familiar, this is the ADFS. Basically, it's that single sign-on. Your one AU password works for everything. We try to make every application that we use work with this. Not every application does. You may use some software that requires some external password or some separate password. Then you just sign in. Yeah. Keep me signed in. Great, and then you have all of your applications there, right? Now, students can actually access this as well. I've had a bit of hit or miss with them being able to see Teams. Everybody should have been added in now, so all students should be able to access Teams through this as well. If they don't, please contact me, and we can make sure that they get imported into the user access list. Okay, great aside. Teams, everybody should have access. Go to webinar. I'm going to have a brief line about that. It's very useful software. I like it. It is pricey. At least it's pricey if you're trying to get large crowds. It's pretty pricey even for small crowds. And I know every office is having to tighten the belt and is worried about budgets right now. So if you have it, if you got the budget for it, great. Useful and widely used webinar tool. I'm just going to leave it at that for now, folks. Live streaming requires a streaming platform. So what is a streaming platform? Well, it's a place that hosts a video and lets you basically push your content to it. Requires a streaming platform. Let's make a list. Who doesn't love a good list? Requires a streaming platform. Requires screen capture. I'm just gonna say capture and broadcast software. Now that may sound a little scary. Let's see. A, right? So we're gonna shift tab, or no, we're gonna tab in to make a sublist, right? Open broadcast software. PC, Mac. I think you can just do it from your phone. But like a streaming platform, for instance, could be YouTube, where I am right now. It could be Facebook Live, Twitter, Instagram. That list goes on, right? Most of the social media apps do that, right? Because they want to get your eyeballs. I don't know about any phone software. You can actually, with Zoom, from Zoom, you can broadcast directly to Facebook. So if you guys are trying to do some kind of live stream, Zoom's an option. All right. So let me go and delete that, and let's hit save real quick. Let's see how it looks. Let me actually close that. I'm gonna add this link to the yeah, you can see like it's pricey, but I mean, it's, again, you get what you pay for. It's useful software. Please, CMS bless. Pray to the Omnissiah chat and hope that the machine gods bless us with a successful process. While I'm here, just waiting, let me take a quick look at my email, make sure nothing too crazy came in. I think I've got Teams up. Yep, going sand. Oh, actually, while we're here, so open broadcast, right? How do we do this, right? That's funny. All right. So open broadcast software. You're like, Cole, you've been doing these live streams. This is what, live stream 5 now? Well, we use a bit of software called open broadcast. Right? It's all going in. All right, so you'll notice I got a couple of things going on. All right. Hey, so you've got a lot of tools for this. Basically, you've got things that we call scenes over here, and then within the scenes we have sources. So I've got a couple things. I'm using this little pop-out window of my phone camera, and it's got its own little camera on my second screen, and I'm like, all right, cool, let me grab that. And this is called a window element. I just add an image. This is my little like pixel profile picture. This is some text that I just added. All right, so if we go to the properties of that, you can see I've got all these settings for the text. You can control how they're visible. Now, the most important things, really, like the camera's fun, the picture and the email and everything's fun. But really what's most important is the audio input. And you'll see I've got desktop audio here. I can silence that if you don't want to hear the music anymore. I like the music though. You can see I can change the gain of my microphone. Maybe I've been a bit quiet today. I apologize. I was hoping not to catch the cats crying at the door. And then I've got my main screen. That's what I named it. It's just another window capture. And the window is actually my main desktop. So I enable that. And because this is on that screen, right, it kind of causes a headache. You can do multiple scenes too. So, right, so let's say I want a one between scenes. I want to have a fade that lasts 1 second. It's there. Anyhow, so that's open broadcast, and you can see we've got like stop streaming, start recording. I'm currently streaming. It's giving me feedback on that. And this can go to a lot of different things. It's a bit overwhelming, and I'm going to have something specifically for that. But you can see I've got, hey, my YouTube stuff set up, and you can change all kinds of things. You can do hotkeys for sound effects or to do scene transitions and stuff. And I think as some of us are going to be working more remotely, I'll make more in-depth tutorials on this. But also know that this is very useful for recording, right? It's not just streaming. You can do a recording. And I would honestly say if you aren't sure about your audience size, but you want to get some recorded material out there so that way people can see and interact with you guys, honestly, we got a lot of people competing for virtual space. And that was always true, but it's perhaps even more true now. And what we want to do is perhaps give yourself more opportunity to succeed. Even if you do live stream, let's put up a recording, right? YouTube just automatically keeps this, right? So you guys can reference these videos at any time. You can also just record a video and let them participate asynchronously with what we're doing. OBS, honestly, it's very simple to just record. The streaming stuff, a little bit more complicated. Recording, like we can get you set up in 5 minutes. You can just capture your audio, capture your screen. Don't even need a webcam. You're good to go. And we can have tutorials. You can, if you got common problems, and especially if it's something that's maybe particular, like our CMS system, right? Like none of this is rocket science. It's just everything's in a very specific spot in a very specific way. And on top of that, there's kind of some, not hidden rules, but just things that aren't very clear that we have to do for accessibility needs, right? So it's good to sometimes have a video that you can just see every step of the way. So live streaming, if you are interested in doing any kind of live streaming or recording, or if you're saying, hey, my meetings need a little pizzazz, then we can chat. I would be more than happy to help you figure out OBS, Open Broadcast Software. Great. Okay. So this is pretty good. Let's see. I've got about 6 minutes left. I think this is a kind of nice, quiet day. This, like I said, example page. A lot of times we just need a lot of content. Let's see. We've gone over a lot of headers with this. I'm going to keep banging the drum about the headers. I've showed you how to add image at the top of the text block. Very basic. We can actually show you how to add an image in the text as well, although it's a very similar process instead of doing it through the tab. Right, so we've got video accessibility. Let's actually take a screenshot of OBS, right? Okay, so I've got this screenshot of OBS saved. Oh, I'm about to save it, let's say. OBS snap. All right, and where do we want to add this? We could add it to the top like we have with all these other ones. So let's go and do that. Let's do new, because again, we haven't added this. Again, whenever you add an image, all right, so let's just do this. I'm going to clip this. So we're going to, game face. So when you want to add an image, you have two ways. You can do it through the photo tab up here, or by clicking this little image with a pencil icon. Either way, you are going to get very similar screens. Let's add through the text block. So we'll select way down here and hit the image icon with the pencil. We're going to get this pop-up box. We can choose an existing photo, but we're going to add a new one. If we click new, we need to, under image gallery, hit select, default image gallery, subsite, uncheck that box. It should have your subsite by default selected. Just do a quick spot check, make sure that's the same. Hit add image and choose your file. I want to add my OBS snapshot. So I'm going to hit upload image, and then you'll get a new pop-up box. This, all you need to do is add the alt text. Alternative text needs to be a description of the image that doesn't use the word image, pic, picture, logo, banner, anything that says it's an image. Don't use that. Simply describe the image in a way that is useful for somebody who would be blind or unable to see the image. If your image has text, include the text. If it has more than about 80 characters of text, do a quick summary. A lot of times people put up event posters, time, date, location. Perfect, works for it. This was just a snapshot of my open broadcast software. Broadcast software example. That's all I need to do. That's exactly what it was that I was doing. And here it is. Now, if we wanted to actually add it, we just hit save. And then this picture should go across the entire bottom of my area. Now, you may not want it to be going all the way across. You may want the size of it to be different. There's two ways that we can change the size. We do have a way to change it in the content manager. You don't have a lot of control over it, though. You don't really have a lot of control over where it goes or how it displays. And even trying to change the size doesn't work out great. It's always easier to change the size of the image outside of our web system. So just be aware of that. And as you might be able to tell, I'm stalling for time as our system thinks. I don't know if you're going to be able to see her, but you might be able to see that hellion on the chair napping like a little fuzzy loaf. All right. Hey, there's our picture, right? Like, I don't actually want it at the bottom. I want to announce, hey, with our video accessibility section, like all of these other ones, right? This one went all the way across the top. This one's kind of small. And frankly, that's actually a good video for it. But let's go ahead and delete. If you want an image up at the top, even if it's going across or just part of it, you can see this image quote layout. If you want at the top and only part of the area, actually, let me hit cancel real quick. You add that through photo here, select image. Now I'm going to add a new one again. New. Select default. You'll notice this isn't checked. In the previous version, it was checked. So it looks different in different areas. Either way, you got to make sure you got that default image gallery selected. So just be aware, don't get tangled up with that. If you get an error here, right? So if I try to add an image, I'm going to say like cold rules, right? Upload image. Yep, it's going to say, well. Maybe not. This is interesting. What? Okay, so I've seen people get errors from this, right? With this selected. I wonder if they changed that. IT making me look like a fool. Alright, let's select something. Okay, yep. So if you get this error, please choose an image gallery. Default, right? So just be aware. Just gotta have the image gallery selected. Alright, so we got this image. We want to add an image up to the top. Oh, never mind, hold on. We already showed you. That's how you add an image to the top. Text block. If you want to edit the size of an image, you can click on it. Yep, right clicking doesn't do anything. So you click on the image, hit this insert image button again, and like, hey, oh, it's our image. Great. You'll see this image size. It's a big boy. 1415 by 854. Nice computer screens are going to be like 1920 by 1080. This is pretty close to it. And that's the size of the pixels in the image. So we can hit edit. And one thing that you'll see is the scale proportionally. You might also see this in image editing software. Keep it as much as you can, because if you change it, then it's going to warp and distort things. I don't know. Let's make this tiny, right? See how automatically change that? If I change it again to 500, hey. So I'm going to make this image small. I'm going to make it even smaller, 150, right? Hit save and hit save. Look at the little guy. Let's hit save again. And then we will see the image down below and see how it turned out. All right, funnily enough, I thought about ending early and I'm going a couple minutes over. Let me check and see how this looks, and then I'm going to add some text around it. We're going to kind of see how we can edit and mess with that. Oh, look at our little guy. Okay, so we got a tiny image there. Let's edit it. Let's add some text. I'm just going to say, look at this little guy. This little photo. So cute. Adorable. And hopefully to my right. Okay. So it looks like basically it just creates a new line. So if you want to have it break up the line, not going to work out so great. So the reason why I went into the source view is you can see, hey, here's my paragraph. Look at this little photo. So cute. And then I've got the image right there. You can see the slash for the end of the image, /p. Let's just save. Let's see what happens, right? I'm pretty sure it's just going to be on a new line. It might be too big. Even that little guy. I also don't think it has any specific styling for the words to wrap. Sorry, folks. I get this weird thing where whenever I talk for a long time, I yawn. I'm sure it's because I'm not breathing properly while I'm talking too much. So, if you want text to really flow around stuff, we'll have to talk, I think. Let's try one more thing. Because I know that there's things like the news stories that's designed specifically to allow for that, right? So we go back into here, right? I've got text. Maybe now the image is to my left. All a matter of perspective. Question mark? Perspective. Yep, so it looks like it's just going to be sandwich. Little sandwiches here. Yep, there it is. So we didn't go too deep on stuff today. Well, actually, I take that back. We went deep on a lot of side things. We covered how do you access your Zoom profile properly. We covered linking properly because, again, remember, if you don't have that HTTPS, external pages won't load properly. Remember, links, you need to not actually paste the web address. Don't just paste the URL. Please actually link it through some words and let the words know where people are going. We took a look at some other software like live streaming, and we looked at how to fix our profiles. If your profile is showing the wrong title, or if you want to update your bio, you can do that yourself through the directory. Unfortunately, web content managers can't change anything about your profile. They can just add it or remove it. All right, folks, hope this was useful. As always, send me your feedback, tune into office hours, send me an email for one-on-one working time. Hope to start making some cuts of these so we can have bite-sized pieces of useful information. Catch you all later, folks. Bye.